Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to my new YouTube channel, The Vinyl Freak. I am a huge vinyl collector. I collect vinyl as a hobby. It's one of my favorite hobbies. I enjoy it a lot. And I'm very passionate about music, and so I am deciding to start my own channel where I will be reviewing albums, ranking discographies, and doing album reviews for fun. All this is just my opinion, but I think that it could be really fun, and if I do get enough views, I'm gonna keep doing it. So if you do see this video and you like it, subscribe, like, comment your thoughts or opinions on the video, on the music I'm talking about, whatever you want. This is my first video, and I figured a fun first video to do would be an album ranking of one of my favorite bands, a band that I grew up with, one of the first bands I fell in love with. That is the one and only Red Hot Chili Peppers. I will be ranking their albums from worst to best. Red Hot Chili Peppers are one of my favorite bands, very nostalgic for me. One of the first bands that really got me into music. And so, with that being said, they are a legendary band. Probably don't need much of an introduction, but I'm going to be ranking their albums. So I have 10 of their albums on vinyl. They have 13 studio records, so there's only 3 that I don't have, and it is my bottom 3. So I'm just gonna run through those real quick, and then I'll get into the top 10, which are the albums that I own on vinyl, and I'll be showing you my pressing and all that. So without further ado, my number 13, my least favorite Red Hot Chili Pepper album, is their newest record, Return of the Dream Canteen. Now, I will go ahead and say, I am not against their new stuff since John returned. Spoiler alert, the other album that they released from a couple years ago with him is higher up on the list. But they released 2 albums, and the second one that came out is my least favorite of theirs. I find this record to be very cheesy and self-indulgent, and they're just doing stuff on this record that I personally don't want them to do as a fan. And look, they're the artists, they can do whatever they want, right? And I respect that, but a lot of electronic instrumentation throughout this record on songs like My Cigarette and The Drummer and In the Snow, which are some of my least favorite Chili Pepper songs ever. I find the electronic indulgences on this record to be very bland, very forced, and just cheesy. It's just not for me. It's not what I want out of this band. And for that reason, it is my number 13. But there are a few good songs on there that I enjoy. I like Roulette. I like Tip of My Tongue. I like Eddie. Of course, the solos are fantastic. I love Carry Me Home. Fake as Fuck is a cool song. Bellows a cool song. There is some good stuff, but it's very long, and a lot of the songs on there that I don't like are some of my least favorite Chili Pepper songs ever. And so that is why it is at number 13 for me. My number 12 is going to be the debut from 1984. Yeah, this record, you know, there are elements of it that I enjoy. I mean, I do enjoy kind of the early energy of it. It's their first record. It's very rough production-wise. The demos are actually came out the way that they actually wanted them to, and they wanted to release the album as they sounded on the demos, but they decided it wasn't commercial enough, and so they ended up releasing a more commercial version of it. And you know, it's an okay record. It's definitely not something that I'm gonna go back to much at all. But there are a few cool standouts. Truman Don't Kill Coyotes is really fun. Out in LA is really fun. You know, I mean, there are some cool songs. Get Up and Jump is super funky. Flea does some cool stuff on here, a lot of slapping. But again, 2 of their founding members were not on this record, and I think that with the next 2 records, they would improve a lot over their debut. So that's number 12 for me, the self-titled debut. Number 11, and this might be controversial because a lot of Chili Pepper fans love this record. I do not, however, though. It is 1989's Mother's Milk. I find this record, I have two issues with it. The first issue and the main issue I have with it is the production. It has very, kind of that 80s hair metal production that I really don't like. It sounds very just bloated, and I just don't like the production on here. I don't like the way the guitars sound. The production just, in my opinion, is not up to par and not up to standards of what would come after this. So that's my first issue with the record. And the second issue is there's just a few songs on here that I feel like are kind of filler and don't really do much for me. Fire, the Jimi Hendrix cover, I find to be pretty average. I think that the interludes are fun, like Punk Rock Classic and Magic Johnson, but not songs that I go back to a lot. There are some cool songs on here. Again, every Chili Pepper record has some good songs. Johnny Kick a Hole in the Sky is really fun. The Stevie Wonder cover, Higher Ground, is obviously great. I like Nobody Weird Like Me. I like Taste the Pain a lot. But I find this to be arguably their most overrated record. A lot of, old school Chili Pepper fans really like this record, and the production on this album just kind of kills it for me. I really don't like the 80s hair metal sounding production. So those are my bottom three. So now we are in the top 10, and this is where it really gets good for me. I really like all of these records from here on out. My number 10 is 1985's Freaky Styley, produced by George Clinton of Parliament Funkadelic. I really like this record a lot. This is the first one to feature Hillel Slovak, the original founding guitarist, and some super funky shit on this album, dude. Jungle Man is so much fun. Hollywood Africa is great. I actually really like the production on this record. I think George Clinton does a really good job adding in a lot of trumpet on here and kind of giving it that kind of like mid-70s Funkadelic Parliament vibes. It really has that sound to it. And given the time that this album was released, I mean, a lot of the production from the mid-80s, those albums haven't aged well, just in general. But I actually really like the sound of this album. Yertle the Turtle is really fun. Black Eyed Blonde, Brothers Cup, there's just a lot of really good stuff on here. And if you like that old school Chili Pepper punk funk sound, I think you're really gonna like this album. That's my number 10, Freaky Styley. By the way, I forgot, I am gonna be rating these albums. I would give this album 7.5 out of 10. And the other three would be pretty good bit below that. But number 10, Freaky Styley, super fun record. Coming in at number 9, and this is where it really gets hard for me because I love every record from here on out. These 9 albums I love, and 5 through 9 is really hard for me because I love all these albums really the same. They're very similar in quality. So it's hard to decipher kind of which one goes where. Every day it could be different. I have 2016's The Getaway at number 9. This is so hard for me because this is a really good record, and I just think the songs on here are just so much fun. I mean, the title track, The Getaway, is one of the most underrated Chili Pepper songs. It's got disco vibes, 70s disco vibes. It's great. The outro is fantastic. Dark Necessities is obviously a classic. Goodbye Angels goes pretty hard. Go Robot is really fun. That's another kind of disco influenced song that's just super catchy and has a great bass line from Flea. The ending of this record, I mean, Encore, The Hunter, and Dreams of a Samurai, I love all those songs. They're more ballad-esque, but especially Dreams of a Samurai got this kind of psychedelic edge to it. It's really cool. And this album's pretty divisive among Chili Pepper fans. Some people really love it and some people don't like it at all. It's pretty divisive, but for me, I love it. This album came out when I was in high school, so I definitely have some nostalgic feelings for this album. I saw them for the first time on tour, on the Getaway tour, and yeah, there's just a lot of really great songs. Sick Love, by the way, is another one that I love from this record. So the Getaway, last album with Josh, really good record. And again, ask me tomorrow, this could be higher up, but just how I'm feeling today. All right, coming in at number 8 is 1987's Uplift Mofo Party Plan. This is my favorite 80s Chili Pepper record, obviously. God, I love this record. I love this record. It goes so freaking hard, dude. The just metal-like, funky riffs on this record are so good. This is probably their hardest rocking album. Like, they rock the hell out on this album. Some really good shit on here. Fight Like a Brave is a great opener. Chili Peppers, almost all their albums have great opening tracks. Fight Like a Brave, no exception. Amazing song. I mean, dude, I could go through the whole track list. Freaking Backwoods, Funky Crime, Walking on Down the Road is amazing. Organic Anti-Beatbox Band, No Chump Love Sucker. Just so many great songs on this album. And, you know, the only album, by the way, that features all 4 original members, Jack Irons, Hillel, Flea, and Anthony. Just a great, super underrated Chili Pepper record. If you're into like funk metal, like if you like Rage Against the Machine, some Primus, some Faith No More, stuff like that, this album is really a precursor to that sound that would take off in the early 90s. So, give this thing a shot. It's great. Just, again, it could be higher tomorrow. These records in the middle all sort of float around for me. So, great record, though. Uplift Mofo Party Plan, 1987. All right, coming in at number 7 is one of the new ones, 2022's Unlimited Love. This is a fat vinyl copy, double LP. Yeah, this one's great. I'm very nostalgic for this record. I was super excited about this album when it first came out because it was their first record with John back, and I hadn't been a Chili Pepper fan back when Stadium was released, their last record with John. I was too young. And yeah, this is a really fun record with a lot of good, just alternative rock, funky Chili Pepper tracks. Black Summer was a great opening single, in my opinion. Just a great guitar solo. Catchy chorus. Here Ever After is a great song. Aquatic Mouth Dance. The lyrics are so freaking weird, but the just jazzy vibes on that song. Flea ripping the saxophone, and actually it might be a trumpet. Yeah, I think it's a trumpet. But just has these like hardcore, like almost freaky style vibes. Like really just funky vibes on that one. Great bass line. It's Only Natural. John's guitar tone on that song is incredible. Super catchy. She's a Lover is really fun. What You Thinkin' is an absolute banger. White Braids and Pillow Chair has an amazing outro. The Heavy Wing is unbelievable with John singing lead vocals on the chorus. Like, it's just a really great record. And I feel like these albums got kind of memory hold because they didn't have a bunch of big hits on them. This and Dream Canteen, but this one really deserves to get more love because it is just a great late career record for the Peppers. And yeah, it's just a really good record. I mean, other songs on here that I love, Let 'Em Cry, One Way Traffic is super stupid, but it's super funky, and I love Flea's bass solo. Just a lot of good stuff. And yeah, Unlimited Love, number 7. All right, coming in at number 6, you know, this again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but all these records are so close in quality. It's hard for me to really, you know, say which one is better in general. It's just every day is different. But number 6, I got One Hot Minute. One Hot Minute. This is the lone Chili Pepper record with Dave Navarro on guitar. After Blood Sugar Sex Magik, John left, and Dave Navarro came in from Jane's Addiction. And man, Dave Navarro plays his ass off on this record. I love his guitar playing on this album. I feel like people don't give it enough appreciation because it's not John, but good God, man, like some of the guitar solos on here are just nuts. So psychedelic and weird and really heavy, like some really heavy, like Jane's Addiction style guitar playing, which is no surprise given that he was in Jane's Addiction. I mean, I just love this record. I mean, Warped is one of my favorite opening Chili Pepper tracks with that just crazy, groovy, again, like metal-inspired guitar riff, and it has that really dreamy outro that I love. Aeroplane is obviously a classic. One Big Mob is incredible, especially the psychedelic interlude in the middle. Walkabout is super funky. Tearjerker, really pretty song about Kurt Cobain. A lot of Kiedis' lyrics on this record are really good as well because the band was really fighting with drug addiction at this point, and the lyrics are very much centered around that. Shallow Be Thy Game is my favorite song on here. Oh my gosh, that guitar solo goes so hard. I guess the only reason this record isn't a little bit higher for me is because there are a few songs I'm not big on. The title track, I find a little bit weird. I really don't like the outro to that song. Just that 1 minute dirge of sound is really off-putting to me. P is obviously sort of weird with Flea singing, but still, I mean, if you're looking for something that's a little different from the usual Chili Pepper aesthetics and sounds, One Hot Minute is a great place to check it out. Super psychedelic and dark and weird. And yeah, just a great overlooked, underrated record from the Chili Peppers. So that's my number 6. And coming in at number 5, this might be a little bit controversial, given that this record is this high. I feel like a lot of people tend to overlook this record. This is easily, in my opinion, the most underrated Chili Pepper album. 2011's I'm With You. I love this record. This album is so damn catchy. Like, the choruses on this song are so catchy. It's some of Kiedis' best hooks are on this record. Monarchy of Roses, Factory of Faith, Brendan's Death Song, Ethiopia, Meet Me at the Corner, which is a beautiful ballad. Goodbye Hooray is a rager. Look Around is super fun. Like, just so many great Chili Pepper songs on this album. There's really nothing here. It's just so fun, and I think it's so overlooked. A lot of people give it shit. I mean, you know, the one song I really don't like on here is the closing track, Dance, Dance, Dance. I think that song is big time filler. But, and honestly, Adventures of Rain Dance Maggie, I think is a little weird. Just not, I don't know. I've never been super into that song, but other than those two songs, I love every song on here. Police Station is amazing. Annie Wants a Baby is great. It's just a really fun, catchy album that tends to get really overlooked. And I highly recommend checking this album out if you haven't heard it yet. I'm With You, number 5. And that concludes this section of their discography. And now we are at the top 4. And to no one's surprise, probably, this is where I have all the classics. I mean, the Chili Peppers, their career is really defined, in my opinion, by 4 records. And those 4 records are at the top for me. And get them over here real quick. So these 4 are all great. I love all these records. These are the records that got me into the band in the first place. And this is the top tier of Chili Pepper albums. Coming in at number 4, the most popular Chili Pepper record, I got Californication, 1999. Yeah, I mean, what can I say about this record that hasn't already been said? It's a classic. You know, it's funny. This record, one of the things that I used to really detract from it was the production, which is not good. The production on this record is not good. It is a victim of the loudness wars from the late 90s. Very compressed. The instruments all sort of meld together. It's hard to sort of separate them when listening because they're all so over compressed in the mix. However, the production has grown on me over the years. I find the kind of dirty sound to sort of work in the record's favor, which is crazy. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't know. The production on this record doesn't bother me as much as it used to. And I just find the songs on this album that are not the hits to be so fun. I mean, the hits are obviously classic. The title track is huge. Other Side is one of my favorite Chili Pepper hits. Scar Tissue has some amazing guitar work on it. Around the World is an amazing opener, another just amazing opening Chili Pepper song. But man, some of my favorite songs on here are songs that just no one talks about. Easily is incredible. Get on Top is super funky. It has like some progressive rock influences. I remember John saying that song was inspired by Yes's 1972 record, Close to the Edge. One of the songs on there, I think it's like Cthulhu and I. If you go listen to that song, very similar to the riff on Get on Top. Super cool. Emmett Remus is really cool. This Velvet Glove, top 5 Chili Pepper song of all time for me. That song is unbelievable. Purple Stain is so funky and catchy. And it really is. It's a great record. It's a classic. The only reason I have it at 4 and not higher is I just have heard the singles a little too much. They've been overplayed, and I do think that there are a few songs on here that aren't as great as with some of the records coming up. I feel like they're just a little bit more consistent, but still, absolute classic record. I totally forgot to rate these albums, so I guess I'm not going to do that, but I would give this a pretty strong 8.5 out of 10. It's great, and really the comeback record that the Chili Peppers needed at the time. And again, it's sold more than any of their albums. So a great record. Okay, coming in at number 3, this is where it really gets hard. These top 3 could all be number 1, and it's really hard. But my number 3 is gonna be 2006's Stadium Arcadium. Very lucky to have this on vinyl. There aren't that many copies out there, but one of the first albums I ever got on vinyl because it's one of the first albums I ever fell in love with. This is the album that got me into the band. Dude, 2 hours of just amazing funk-laced alternative rock, dude. So much good shit on here. The band really performing at the peak of their powers. In terms of just the instrumentation, they're just playing their asses off while also writing some really catchy, hooky songs. And dude, I could go through every song on here. I could name all my highlights. It would take me forever. I mean, I'll just say one thing about this record that I love. The 3-song run from, that's a really badass picture right there, John on fire. The 3-song run of Wet Sand, Hay, and Desecration Smile is unbelievable. 3 of some of my favorite Chili Pepper songs of all time. And they all are great, and they all come back to back to back. This record also, it's one of the best sounding records in my entire collection because the record was actually pressed straight from the analog tapes. And so it sounds so good. It's not a digital remastering. It's comes straight from the analog tape. So like the record sounds incredible. Absolute classic. This would be a 9 out of 10 for me. It's really freaking great. I love it. That's coming in at number 3. So now we have my top 2. And these 2 are really tied for me. I mean, you have them both right here. Blood Sugar Sex Magik and By the Way. I could go either way with both of these. Today, I'm going to say this is my second favorite. I'm going to go with By the Way. Man, I mean, this record, it really is the Chili Peppers reaching out into territory that they've never gone into. John Frusciante's masterpiece, really. I feel like this is really his album. It almost feels like a Frusciante solo album labeled as a Chili Pepper album. And that's no offense to any of the other members because they all do great stuff on here. But the direction of this record is so Frusciante. Very sort of art rock inspired type, melodic, pretty songs. The funk is pretty much gone on this album. It's very much a melodic, alternative, mellow rock record. And I mean, dude, I pretty much love every song on this record. There really is not one song on here that I would skip. There are some songs that are better than others, in my opinion, but good God, man. Venice Queen, arguably my favorite Chili Pepper song of all time. Universally Speaking, This Is the Place, Don't Forget Me, the Zephyr song, On Mercury, Minor Thing, another top 5 Chili Pepper song of all time for me. Just some amazing, amazing songs on here, amazing sounds. And yeah, I mean, the Chili Peppers' most different album, I would say, out of their discography. It's very much almost more of an art rock type record. It's sort of diving into that art rock sound of like late 70s, early 80s, you know, stuff like Brian Eno and you know, REM, kind of that indie alternative sound that would come out of the late 70s, early 80s, and doing it really well. Great record, 9.5 out of 10. And that leaves me at number 1, the obvious pick, 1991's Blood Sugar Sex Magik. 9.5 out of 10 for me, man. This record is so fucking good. It's so fucking good, dude. It's so classic. It's just, it is, in my opinion, the greatest fusion of funk and rock ever made on a record. I mean, this is some of the most badass, funky, just bumping rock music you will ever hear in your life. It goes so hard. Every song is just an absolute rager, dude. Every song. And, you know, some people may say, oh, Kiedis's, you know, his lyrics or deliveries on this record are annoying and, you know, all the anti-Anthony Kiedis, you know, Kiedis haters. Look, that's fine. He has so much charisma on this record. Like, his performances on this record are just incredible. Just his delivery on all of them is just so energetic and powerful. And Flea and Frusciante are just clicking on this record. They're just the way that they can weave each other's playing into one uniform sound and make it sound so good and funky and just catchy is unbelievable. It's just, they're just such good musicians. And Flea really taken more of a back seat with his bass playing on this record, but intentionally to kind of let the other instruments shine a little bit more. And he still has some just killer bass lines on this record, dude. From If You Have to Ask, Suck My Kiss, Naked in the Rain has one of the hardest bass grooves on any Chili Pepper album. And then, of course, John just kills it. His guitar playing is second to none on this record. And Chad just brings the heat on this record. His drum playing is phenomenal. His drums sound so good on this record. They have this very kind of slushy, loud, echoing sound, but not in a bad way like it was on Mother's Milk. Like, the production on this record is incredible. Rick Rubin, just his production on this album is phenomenal. Yeah, it's one of my favorite rock records of all time, and I highly recommend anyone who loves funk, who loves rock, if you haven't heard this album, go check it out. It is one of the defining alternative rock records of the early 90s. And yeah, one of my favorite albums of all time. So that is my ranking of every Red Hot Chili Pepper album. I hope that if you're watching this, you enjoyed this video, and give it a like, give it a comment, subscribe if you want. Let me know if you want me to continue to making more videos in the future. Thank you, everyone who's watching this, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.